Okay, Shane Simmons here, and this next video takes place in Wytheville, Virginia, in the county of Wythe. And Wytheville got its name from George Wythe, who was a signer of the Declaration of Independence and was known to be the mentor of Thomas Jefferson. So he was pretty prominent as a founding father. And there's actually the high school is named the George Wythe High School, so it's named in his honor. And it's also, as I mentioned, I think it was last week in our history segment, is also home of E. Lee Trinkle, the 49th governor of Virginia. And for me, most interesting was that it's also the hometown of Edith Bolling Wilson, who would become the second wife of President Woodrow Wilson. Got kind of fascinated with her story and kind of got into that a little bit back when I worked in that town and found out a few things that I want to share with you now. And so she came from a family, I think she was one of 11 children in Wytheville. She ended up marrying a jeweler, a fairly prominent, wealthy jeweler in Washington, D.C., living out that way, and she kind of liked the social scene. Well, President Wilson, who came into office married, his wife suffered some severe health problems, and so she passed away while he was in office in 1914. Well, he meets Edith Wilson, whose husband had passed away by this time, and he gets smitten with her, and they start this whirlwind romance and end up getting married after 9 months. And at this time, when they met, she was 42 and he was 59. So a little bit of an age gap there. And his advisors really didn't think it looked good on him with voters and the world at large that his wife had just died a year or less than a year ago. And here he is in this, whirlwind romance that could be scandalous and hurt his reelection chances. So everything was kind of kept on the down low for the most part. It was low key. They got married in a small ceremony and, long story short, they lived happily ever after. But it did not affect him with voters, and he won re-election. And in 1919, he suffered a pretty severe stroke while he was in office. I guess it was any other kind, but a severe one. But he was pretty well incapacitated, and she had been very heavily involved with politics anyway, so she got even more so involved at this point in time. Now, a lot of the advisors claimed that she was way too involved, and even some rumors started that maybe she forged his signature on some documents and that type of thing. Now, she denies this type of thing ever happened and just claimed that she was a stewardship. She kind of screened information from him and trying to determine what was important for him to deal with, what wasn't, so that he could heal and not be overwhelmed. So what the real story is, who knows? Probably somewhere in between. And anyway, he recovers, finishes out his term in 1921, and then he passes away in 1924. They end up living the rest of their lives together in D.C. in a townhouse. And then he passes away. She goes on to live until 1961, so she survived him by 37 years. Anyway, that's the story of Edith Bolling Wilson, and that's why this hotel you're about to see was named after her. And I wish I had more tape to show more of the town, but hey, gotta do what you gotta do. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, or whatever. There's gotta be a better saying than that, but you know what I mean. In any case, enjoy this look at Wytheville, Virginia. Shane Simmons, the Appalachian Project, and I'm here in one of my favorite towns in Southwest Virginia, Wytheville, Virginia. And it is the county seat of Wythe County, and the reason I'm focusing on this building, the Edward Jones building. It used to be a First Community Bank back in the day, and for a little while, and I worked there for a bit when it very first opened. Yeah, I'm sure it had been a bank prior to that also, but I came the first day that it was First Community, and we showed up, and I worked with a guy who's very well known here locally named Jack Hunley. And we showed up and had a couple of gals working with us that day, and they quit and went to work at a rival bank overnight. They both left and just didn't show up. So me and Jack showed up together and had to try to figure out how to run a teller drawer between us until we could get some help from Fort Chiswell branch. So it's good little memories. I love Jack. He passed away a couple of years ago, which was a dark day for me because he left an impression on me. He was just a heck of a guy. He used to love to come down here to Skeeter's Hot Dogs, which we'll be passing here shortly too. But anyway, here is Wytheville's 8,211 population back in 2010, and it seems every bit of it too. It's a bustling little town. Always has a lot going on. This little log cabin place is, or log house as it's officially called, is a great little restaurant down here, very well known, a lot of good food. We'll head on down here to the downtown area. But yeah, I got a lot of special memories. I worked down in here in Wytheville for about 6 months or so, and then I worked at Fort Chiswell for about a year. So I've got a lot of affection for this place, that's for sure. Heading down to the main street section. To the right, you'll see a hotel that's been redone, which is absolutely gorgeous, the Bolling Wilson Hotel. To the left is Skeeter's Hot Dogs we're coming up on, which is probably more known locally. Bolling Wilson Hotel, they spent a fortune on refurbishing that. It was a bank. It was a BB&T bank for a while, and I was in there back at the time, and it seemed like it was about on its last legs, and they really did a fantastic job of fixing that back up. It's an amazing little place. I highly recommend staying there. The Skeeters is just an institution for hot dogs. Been around for years and years and years. Very well known. And here's the Wytheville Office Supply. A lot of people will know this town just for that pencil hanging downtown. It gives it gives this downtown section a little character. There's a Millwall Theater. I don't know what they do with that now. It looks like it's a church, possibly. A lot of memories. Count's Drug here on the left, and then we've got the Virginia State Police. I'm pretty sure at one time that building was a First Union / Wachovia Bank or Dominion Bank. People going back that far. The post office is just above there. I remember there's an auctioneer from down here too named Stanley King, and a very wealthy guy. And he was a true character. Anybody that remembers him knows that he was definitely a pistol. Smart, super smart guy. He liked to dress in overalls and an old pickup truck. Tried to act like he didn't have two nickels drubbed together, and that guy was loaded. Had enough money to burn a wet mule, as they like to say around here. So he's a super good. I always had a good time with him. He would come in and talk, and he'd get carried away on something, and he's just a passionate person. He was on the, I guess he was chairman of the board on some of these local banks around here at various times too. He was an amazing guy. Come down here to the end of this, we went through the Main Street part. There's a lot to Wytheville, and I'm not going to be able to get to all of it today, unfortunately, but I'll try to turn around and get a little bit more of the sights and sounds here. Right up here, there comes a little bit of a fork in the road. Make a right here, you go down by a little sub place I love called CJ's, and I ate more Philly cheesesteaks there than you could shake a stick at. Absolutely love them. Wytheville's just, like I said, it's got a lot going on. A lot of that's because it's at where I-77 and I-81 intersect. So at one time, me and my family owned some land up here, quite a few acres of rural land. And the rumor got started that there was going to be another Disney World type thing, like an amusement park there. So we started like, oh my gosh, we better hang on to this, because it was right in the middle of where there would be a lot of free property. So we kept hanging on. Ended up finally selling it for probably like $500 more than we paid for it. If we factor in the years we paid taxes on it, it wasn't exactly the best deal I've ever been a part of, but a little bit of excitement for a while anyway. And if my math is correct, it's been a little while since I've been through Wytheville, so to this part anyway. It's a nice old church. Never paid attention to that before. The courthouse should be coming up here to the right. Pretty nice little spread they got going for them down here. Been there many, many times back in the day, recording deeds of trust and so forth, and worked for the bank. I got a chance earlier to stop in a Royal King down here, and I've never been in one of those things before, but you really need to do yourself a favor and check those stores out if you get a chance. They had rabbits for sale. It's like a mix between Walmart, PetSmart, Lowe's, and some guy's pickup truck at the flea market. It's just the weirdest combination of stuff, but it all makes sense when you get in there and look around. It looks like see how somebody would need all that. Probably go ahead and wrap this video up in a second. Let's see. I might try to go back up through town. See how long this red light takes. Probably run out of tape. I got 2 minutes left according to the old clock on the wall here. Yeah, the longest red light in history here, of course. Never fails. If you go one over the hill, there's quite a bit more to the town. This is by no means covers all of Wytheville, but it's the main part. When people think about the downtown area, this is definitely what you think about. Between the Pencil, Skeeters, the Bolling Wilson Hotel, that log house restaurant. There's a place called Wolfart House, and you got to be careful when you pronounce that one, by the way. It's a dinner theater down here. It's really nice too. I always enjoy coming down here and taking in a show. They do a really good job. It's kind of like Dolly Parton's Dixie Stampede, or Stampede, whatever they call it now. And we get to eat and get a show. One last look here to the downtown section. This video probably cut off right in the middle of me saying something, but hope you enjoy this little look at Wytheville. It's got a lot going for it, and it's I was hoping at the time I'd like to move down here and live down here, because it's the one place I just fell in love with. It's good people. So look at the Bolling Wilson Hotel. I mean, the thing is just amazing. If you'd have seen it before, and those that have know exactly what I'm talking about. They put some serious money into refurbishing that thing. And just ahead is the old log house. So I'll wrap this thing up, and I'll talk to you on the next video. Just want to give you a shot of downtown Wytheville, Virginia. Wytheville, actually. Don't call it Wytheville.